So one of their core values is ownership at the company. And it still is. And that's something that's something that's very important because it has to start once you get clear on what your culture is as a company, you can start hiring those types of people. And as you're working through and going through the interview process, you have to start talking about ownership with the people that you are bringing in. And you have to talk about how you are bringing how you want them to take ownership of their job, of their position, of their stuff, because because that ends up leading towards self-selection at that point. Like that's part of one part of it, but then it's also kind of like once you have that idea in mind, you can start asking certain questions during the interview process. So that's the first step that I would do. Then like the next steps would be along the lines of, all right, go, here's your task, go and do your task. And then or go look at your, like if it's a junior, super junior person, I think the way I would go about it moving forward, what I used to do is I would just give the task to a junior person and let them go do it and then have them come back, and I would end up having to clean up their mess, essentially.
So they come back from the cave 2 or 3 weeks later, and you break their little hearts. And you say, "You did the wrong darn task." Rip out their soul.
Or you didn't do it, like, or it's definitely something that's like they didn't do it as well as they should have. And so what I would do moving forward, particularly like I said with juniors, is all right, what I want you to do is go and look at this task, plan it out, get an idea of how you would code it and everything, and then come back to me and talk to me about how you would do that, and let me give you and then I can give you feedback on how it would work or how you should do it. um because
Would you prepare them at all, or do you essentially learn by fire?
what do you mean by prepare them at all?
So, okay, so you start off by saying the first step of developing this decentralized leadership is by you start with by the hiring process. This is part of the culture. They have to know it coming in. They self-select out. Then you, for junior guys, you give them a task, and then they come back. So essentially, I call this learning under fire.
And I find that I find that extremely effective. But the thing is, I don't. A lot of it's going to be like a lot where they're at in the process. So one rule in my head that I'm trying to implement in the future is, if you're a developer and you're a junior, like a developer just joining a team, is your first pull request needs to happen within 48 hours of you joining the team. Needs to, because we need to start.
So despite onboarding, despite here's our rules and regulations, and
So a lot of that's going to depend also on the company, because there are some people, some ways the company does the onboarding. Like one company I was at, they had like a full week of onboarding. It was, you were useless during that entire week. You'd go and you'd be in meetings after meetings after meetings. Um, yeah, well, but yeah.
so you really break them down, and then you build them back up.
Essentially. But then another company I was at, the onboarding was 1 hour, and that was it. But and so that's why I say it needs to be 48 hours from the moment that you join the team. So when you actually sit down, in front of your computer with the team and start doing code, that your first pull request really needs to happen within that first 48 hours. Now, what that means is the team needs to be ready with a simple task for you to begin with. And I do mean simple, because even the most senior developers, if we give you a complex task when you're first starting out at a company, it could take you a while. But what I really want out of that is you need to go through the feedback process as fast as possible, because it's through the feedback process that you start learning and understanding the way how the team does things. Now, a lot of that is going to depend upon the level of the person. Like a senior level person, I would probably give them a simple task and let them run with it and then see how they do. A junior level developer, what I really want is to give them a task. I expect maybe 2-3 hours of them working, looking through the task, and getting an understanding of it. And then I want them to come back to me and talk to me about the solution that they want to implement. This goes back to the I intend to situation, because yes, it's like it's that type of thing. Like that's what I want, because I've had several junior developers who will go off and run with their a task, and they'll come back and within like a good amount of time, and I'm like nope, we need to go and redo a good amount of this stuff, and it sucks to do that to them, because they've spent a lot of time on what they're working on. And sorry, when you come back to me and I look at it and it's trash code, I have to give you that feedback. I have to tell you, like, all right, this isn't going to work out very well for us. We can't really maintain this. This is a little too complicated. Let's let's go back to the drawing board. So that's why with the junior developers, like I really want them to go and plan that out and then come back to me. And again, that's slowly pushing that whole I intend to, I will, I'm like the feedback from of junior to senior saying this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm doing. And then over time, a lot of that stuff it's going to be trying to pay attention to how that person is working within the team. If they are coming to the team with all nothing but problems, if one of the things that I like to do is turn that problem around on them and ask them, okay, well, what do you think we should do? What would you recommend? Things like that. And when I start asking those,
Yeah, they may be coming from an environment where they weren't allowed to think, where they weren't allowed to push up ideas, and anytime they did, they got shot down. So sometimes you have to break down those uh, bad experiences and build them up. And you could take somebody who immediately looks useless and is amazing.
exactly, exactly. And I've done that with a couple of developers over the years, and it helps a lot. It helps them a lot. Now, when you want to try and move somebody into more managerial leadership type stuff, you have to give them training and stuff on that. And one of the big things that you need to do, particularly for developers, is you have to train them on communication. You have to. Developers just do not know how to communicate in general. I have found that out. Yes. I deal with it a lot at times too. I'm still trying, like, there are certain things that happen at companies, particularly when I first start out with them, that I take issue with, and I have a hard time communicating that to them. There was an incident this past week where I just wanted to I was what was I doing? Oh yeah, like I made a change in Slack, and my my boss came and like talked to me about it. I'm like, that makes no sense. Why are you? It was a really dumb situation. And one, he shouldn't have. He doesn't need to be as anal as he is about it. And then two, on top of that, he wasted a bunch of leadership capital on me about that, because now it's like, all right, dude, you just, yeah, I'm not playing. Like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see how you are. And yeah, like, and that's,
There's one X.
yeah, yep. Oh, and there's a bunch of things. Anyway,
And I think this is an important thing to hit, right? Because we just blew past that. But if you're in a leadership position and you got to be careful about what you're anal about, because when you are anal on something, you don't. you don't think about it sometimes, and you just say, "No, not happening." Next, and I'm not listening to why, what, or what the hell you were thinking. I don't even care. And I'm not going to explain why I said no. And if you do that, you destroyed a relationship.
Yeah, and let's go back there for a second too. That why, as a leader, you have to have a why. You have to explain why. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are the CEO of the company and you are trying to deal with 50 other things. When you tell somebody to do something, you have to give them a why. Okay? Like,
Especially if you're telling them to undo something they did,
and especially
right? Because they had a reason for that. And now, if you say no, I can't handle the chaos, that's so much better than saying no, undo it.
yep. And on top of that, also, it's also dependent upon who you are talking to as well. If you are talking to someone who's senior, who's been around the block multiple times and has been through multiple companies and stuff, and I am talking about myself here, but like I am representative of a lot of people too, and you're essentially a junior leader, like you're just starting out in your career as some sort of a leader in leadership. We know, we see that, and I will be honest here, like brutally honest.
I know what's coming.
We know that you're an idiot. All right, like we can see
Yeah.
it, because here's the issue.
You smell it. It has a bad smell too, by the way. Junior leaders, you smell bad. You should know that. And you're no matter how pretty you are, no matter how much you pay, you ain't that pretty.
And a lot of it is because we have seen senior leaders. We have worked under senior leaders. We have worked under CE.
Have been senior leaders.
Yep. We have worked under CEOs who are like phenomenal, who know how to run a business. Like, I mean, know how to run a business, who know it. Like, they just know it. And a lot of that is because they have tons of experience. And so when you start going like as a junior leader, and like wasting your leadership capital on things that in the grand scheme of things don't matter, you're creating a bad, like you're creating bad precedents and stuff with, especially with us, because we're seeing, like, we are senior people, and yes, junior people will just accept what you say, because guess what? Junior people don't know any better. I don't know if that came through. Did that come through?
No, no, it came through. It came through great. And they don't care.
Well, it's not so much like juniors, like juniors. Like they don't, junior subordinates, they just don't know any better, because they haven't had the experience and been around other places, and they haven't had people who mentor them and tell them, yeah, that really doesn't matter, we need to move, don't worry about that, pick and choose your battles, this is not a battle that you want to that you want to fight over. It's like, so it's stuff like that, that it's like,
Well, in the tech field, the junior guy is saying, okay, I'm junior. I'm not getting paid crap. I know how much these big guys are making. In 6 to 12 months, I'm out of here, probably. So I just got to suffer it anyways and get as much in as I can.